Welcome everyone to the Avengenerds Podcast, where we talk Marvel, DC, Star Wars, and more. I'm your host Torrin. With me is my co-host Peyton.
What's good?
How's it going?
It's going great. We have a great show for everyone this week. We are, of course, talking about Eternals, the next film in Marvel Studios lineup. We got some thoughts on it, so we'll definitely get into that. But first, we got the news of the week. It was a slow news week, which is sort of expected on a release week like this one, but there's still some stuff we got to get through. First is the Morbius trailer. What are your thoughts on that?
Man, dude, that movie is so out of place. Man's gonna be meeting Batman in the film, bro.
Yeah, everyone's clowning on it because it looks like it's in like 5 different universes. But even without all that, it looks so
it looks it looks fun.
I mean, I guess.
I mean, I'm excited. I mean, I like seeing new characters, like on screen. So like, I want to see how this looks. I think they some point during the movie we're gonna meet the Flash family because it's in different universes. So I'm kidding.
Okay.
I'm kidding. But I'm looking forward to it. I don't think it's gonna be good because I have my expectations low, but I want to see like how this looks.
Yeah, I'm not really a huge fan of Jared Leto, just generally. So, and also Morbius isn't really a character I care all that much about. Like Venom, you get in because it's Venom, but with this, it's like, and it also looks, as far as the visual tone, and it just looks, it's reminding me a lot of Venom 2018, and I don't know how I feel about that. But I think when this movie comes out, I think in January or something like that, I don't remember. Whenever this movie comes out, I don't think I'm going to be watching it in the theater. Maybe, I don't know. It depends what reviews say. If it's like it has this huge connection with the MCU or whatever, like how Venom 2 did, which sort of was like, okay, I'll see Venom 2 then, fine. Then maybe I'll see it, but as far as like all these different universes thing goes, I have a little bit of a theory. It sort of falls flat in a couple areas, but like everyone's saying, okay, well there's evidence that takes place in the Venom universe, there's evidence that takes place in the MCU, the Raimi universe, its own whatever. I think this movie is going to take place firmly in the Amazing Spider-Man universe for a couple reasons. So everyone has seen, I think at this point, there is an Oscorp building, and not the Oscorp building that we saw in the Amazing Spider-Man movies, but it uses the exact same logo. That's clue number one, because the Raimi universe doesn't use that logo until our knowledge so far in the MCU. Oscorp doesn't even exist, and if it does exist, it's not in New York or whatever. So there's that. He says, I think it was in the trailer. I think it was at the end of the trailer where he makes that joke about being Venom.
Yeah.
So it would then be like, okay, well, it takes place in the Venom universe. But I would say to that, who's to say that Venom takes place in its own universe? I still think Venom takes place in the Amazing Spider-Man universe. There's nothing really saying that it can't. Now, people have brought up the Daily Bugle logo, but to my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, we haven't even seen the Daily Bugle logo in the Amazing Spider-Man universe. And even then, it's like, people are like, well, it's the one from the Raimi trilogy, but the one the Raimi trilogy uses is just what it looks like in the comics.
Yeah.
So I don't think that argument really holds much bearing. So I think the only thing that throws a wrench into this being in the Amazing Spider-Man universe is 2 things. One, Adrian Toomes, obviously. Now, I think this could be a couple things. I think it could be them being real annoying and putting like the post-credit scene or whatever of him being like thrown into the MCU like in the trailer, or that sort of thing happens in the middle of the movie, and maybe it's a plot point in the movie, but I also don't get that vibe from the trailer, so I don't really know how accurate that could possibly be. But it could also be, and I think this one's the least likely, is that it's sort of like the Flash, and that is a different Adrian Toomes, like his doppelganger or something.
Yeah.
And it just happens to be, he just happens to look like Michael Keaton in that other universe. So I think that's possible too. And the other thing that throws a wrench in it is the Raimi Spider-Man picture from the PS4 game on the wall, which I thought from the first trailer they'd be like, ah, shit, we fucked that up, and they'd fix. But nope. So I guess they're sticking to their guns with that. So I think that's just Sony being Sony.
Mm-hmm.
Or Spider-Man obviously exists in this universe. Or maybe Spider-Man's still like, I don't know, I don't want to say a myth, but sort of like Batman, how no one really knows what Batman looks like. So
yeah,
but they have a rough idea, and so maybe in that universe they're like, maybe he looks like this, and he just happens to look like the Raimi Spider-Man. I don't know. This movie so far looks all over the place, but there's a low level of excitement for me in there to see this movie.
And that's fair to say, because like I feel like with this movie and like a bunch of other movies, they've been like delayed so much that like the hype for it just got like, you know, has gone down. I mean, even so, like with it being like part of Sony, Sony is not very reputable for making, you know, I'm not saying like the best movies, but like they have known to like fumble the bag on like a lot of the movies, especially within like their own like Spider-Man type universes, right?
Yeah.
So with that, I'm gonna bring up this example, the New Mutants, right? Everyone was kind of excited for the New Mutants, but that movie just kept getting delayed and delayed like 7 times.
The hype for that movie was so weird. When it was initially announced, people were like, okay, I guess, sure. But then it got delayed, and then it got delayed to the point where it's like people were like, oh, we really want to see this movie, and people were really excited. And then it got delayed even more to the point where people stopped caring again.
Yeah, and then like they were like released like a trailer, and like a few TV spots of like the movie, and then like the hype train like kind of went back up a little bit, and then like it fell flat like again once it like officially got released.
Yeah, they really done that wrong.
So that's kind of like the thing with like, you know, Morbius at this moment in time, because it was supposed to release like like in 2019, right?
It might have been early 2020, but I don't know for sure.
Around there. It
was supposed to release before Venom 2.
Yeah, it has been delayed a few times before that. So that's kind of why like that's where it's at right now with the hype. But like I said, I like Jared Leto. I think he's a good actor. So it's always a surprise to see like what he brings to the table and like in his movies.
I think he's a fine actor. I just don't like him.
You don't like him as a person, or like what?
A little bit, yeah.
I don't know. I've heard some things about Jared Leto, but we'll get to that another day.
Fine. I'm sure he's fine. I don't like him. So other than that, we have a little quick fire news here. No Way Home seems like it has an official runtime of 2 hours and 39 minutes. W. Should it be longer? Maybe, but still a W. Super long movie, longest Spider-Man movie to date. We also have the Obi-Wan trailer is apparently going to come on Disney Plus Day next week, which we'll definitely get into if that's the case. I mean, we're going to get into almost everything Marvel, Star Wars, whatever the case may be, on Disney Plus Day next week, so don't worry about that. Superman and Lois Season 2 will premiere January 11th, and Superman and Lois will also serve as a lead-in for the Naomi series on the CW. Have you seen the little teaser for Naomi?
No.
Honestly, it looked kind of interesting. Like, I remember when it was announced, I was like, why do I care about this? Like, it was a DC character, and I was like, okay, sure, whatever. But then they showed the teaser at DC Fandom, and I was like, this could actually be something cool. I'm actually kind of excited for it. I'll probably do the classic watch 3 episodes, see if I'm feeling it, and if I don't, I'll drop it.
Let me see. I'm looking at her powers. Oh, I've researched her before. Yeah, she does like, you know, some energy blast from her hands and everything like that.
Yeah,
How old is this actress? What the hell?
Teaser
like
was
10?
like a teaser. Like it was nothing, but it kind of intrigued me. I was like, this actually seems like a cool premise.
All right, well, we'll see how this looks because the actress looks like she's like 9.
I don't think in the teaser she looked like 9. But are you looking at the poster?
Well, I looked it up and I saw like the main actress.
Yeah.
And like how Google is, bro. They don't update shit.
That's true.
So that's probably why I'm getting right now because like in this freaking picture she looks like she's 7. So. Well, we'll see how that show is.
Yeah, we'll see. So
you know how the CW is.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately.
I mean, hopefully they step up their game after The Flash gets delayed for 4 months after the crossover. I mean, look, if it makes the season better, then that's a W, I guess. But at the same time, I thought the pandemic would help them with season 7, and it did not. If anything. I mean, I can't say that it made it worse. We don't really know anything behind the scenes, but like theoretically, they had the time to make it better, and it just yikes. But some more DC. The Green Lantern series reportedly has a darker tone than originally expected. Apparently, it's being confirmed to the recent Watchmen series, which, if that's the case, I mean, we'll be in for a treat with this Green Lantern series.
Bro, you know how much I love Watchmen, bro.
You do be loving Watchmen.
Bro, that just... I'm screaming without the S. All right? So...
a little bit more Star Wars news. Lucasfilm might be fast-tracking a film based on the Old Republic era for a 2023 release. And with that, because they're planning or fast-tracking that Old Republic movie, it seems that Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron movie might get pushed back a year. And this actually makes a lot of sense, even if the Old Republic thing wasn't happening. Patty Jenkins seems to be busy also working on Wonder Woman 3. She's also working on an Amazon series that she's producing. So she's got a lot on her plate. So it makes sense that the Rogue Squadron movie might get pushed back a year. But this Old Republic movie? Hello? Yes, please?
Yes.
I'm not one of those people that was like feeding for an Old Republic movie. Like, this needs to happen. But not something I'm going to complain about. To see that stuff in live action, sign me up.
Facts.
So we got some more Marvel news. It's rumored that Moon Knight's production designer, Stefania Sela, I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name, but she has joined the Blade movie. So makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, Moon Knight and Blade. Apparently, it's rumored Blade might show up in Moon Knight if she's gonna be the production designer on both. I mean, that cohesiveness, and we're gonna be talking about Blade later, if you know what I mean.
I was about to say it, but you beat me to it.
So, yeah, that's exciting. Especially, I mean, if we get a Moon Knight teaser on Disney Plus Day, like you said earlier, I'm going to be screaming without the S. Because along with that, Gael Garcia Bernal has been cast as the lead for Marvel's Werewolf by Night Halloween special for Disney Plus, which it's either releasing October of next year or 2023. I don't think we know yet, but I think it's next year. But if you're unfamiliar with Gael Garcia Bernal, he was the main skeleton. I think his name was Hector in Coco.
Okay.
So he's cool. I mean, I imagine this special is going to be like a one-off. I don't know if I'll expect him to be seeing him in like an Avengers movie, but I don't know how Marvel operates. Maybe. We'll see how that goes. I hope for this Halloween special they really delve into like the actual horror aspect, because apparently we're getting some like, it's like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. This is supposed to be sort of a scary film. I don't know how much I believe that. I know they got Sam Raimi, but like I feel like they can only go so far, especially with the movies, which and Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. I mean, I imagine that's going to be imperative to see on the grand scheme of things for the MCU. But this one, I imagine for some that people could probably skip, I feel like they can go all out, especially on a streaming service where they don't have to abide by any rules other than their own. So that's exciting. Last piece of Marvel news, and then we'll get into the good. The production on Black Panther: Wakanda Forever has been delayed indefinitely. This is because Letitia Wright's injury that she sustained earlier in the year, that she had to halt filming on her scenes, but production continued because obviously not everything in the movie is with her, so they could continue with those shots. And so apparently they've wrapped on all of those, and all they need is Letitia Wright's stuff. And of course, she's injured, so now they have to halt production until she can resume filming, which apparently is looking to start in early 2022. They're looking, I think January is the ideal date for them. But luckily, the movie, along with all those other MCU movies, got shifted and they got delayed. So this might not be that much of an issue in the grand scheme of things. Hopefully it doesn't get delayed again. But been delayed indefinitely, which doesn't mean forever. So
For sure.
A lot of people seem to think. But yeah, that's the news. So you know what it's time for?
Bro, it's time for Eternals,
It's time
man.
for Eternals. So just like our Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and Shang-Chi reviews, we're going to be doing non-spoilers than spoilers. So we're going to give our general thoughts, and then we're going to get into the meaty, gritty stuff with this movie and spoilers. All right. So what are your general thoughts on Eternals?
I really like this film. Of course, it's definitely not your average MCU film. It still has like some elements of it being like, a Marvel movie, with the a little bit of comedy, some action. And I think that the pacing and the writing was really, really good. I definitely think that this movie does not deserve the hate that it's been getting. I feel like that this is another movie where it's gonna shut up the haters that have been hating on this movie for weeks on end. It's also another movie in the MCU to where you shouldn't take critics seriously. I definitely think that you should go watch this movie and form your own opinion about it. And I seem to on other social medias, I see that a lot of other people are liking this movie just as much as I am. So I'm glad that this movie is getting the much deserved appreciation that it's getting right now.
Yeah, critics are crazy. I think the last time we talked about the reviews, which I think was last week, it was sitting at a 59, which is the lowest score, the first rotten score on Rotten Tomatoes that an MCU movie has ever been. Well, 59, it's now 47. So critics are still not feeling it, even after its official release. But the audience score, on the other hand, is an 81%. So that's a W, right? Look, I'm going to be honest with you. Generally speaking, last week I said don't trust the critical score. Really don't trust any score. Just base your opinion for yourself. But if I have to admit, generally speaking, when I go look at critical scores after I see the movie, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. I tend to lean more towards the critical score for movies. Now, that's not the case all the time. There's some blasphemous scores, like Back to the Future's score on Rotten Tomatoes. For the critical score, I'm like, you're fucking high. But for this movie, Eternals, what the hell are critics thinking, man? I don't know what movie they watched, but I loved this. I really, 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 really did. Based on other reviews that I had seen prior to the movie, this movie was exactly what I was expecting it to be. And it didn't disappoint. Now, this movie is definitely not for everyone. I can see how many could find the movie boring, especially if they're expecting a normal MCU movie. If you've seen a lot of reviews that say it's just people standing around and talking, yeah, that's pretty much that's a lot. That's the bulk of the movie, but that's also the best part about it. The weakest part of this movie, and it almost sounds like a slight, but really it isn't, is the action. But that's not a bad thing. The
Yeah, for
the
sure.
the final sequence is very grand and very good, mind you. But like everything before that is, I don't want to say generic, but it's you're not going to be on the edge of your seat with a lot of these fights. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But that's not what the movie is. It's a character study. It's
for sure.
it's putting these dilemmas in your lap and having you question who's in the right. Which,
Hmm.
oh, I love that so much. And if you need to know anything about me with movies, I love dialogue. I love dialogue is like some of my favorite things. Which is one of my favorite things in movies in general. I love it so much. Maybe that has something to do with my love for voice acting. I don't know, but dialogue is like, I'll take that over action any day. So maybe I'm biased. I don't know,
Yeah,
but I'm not an action man. I'm a dialogue man, and this movie had a lot of dialogue and little action. Does that mean I don't like action? No, I love action when it makes sense, and I love action when it's good. But yeah, so I love this movie. I need to see it again, maybe even a third time, to give a really fully formed opinion and a fully formed score. But for right now, I'm giving it an 8 out of 10, maybe an 8.5.
yeah,
What about you?
yeah. After watching the movie twice, I saw it on Friday and Saturday, yesterday. I'm gonna give this movie like about like an 8.5 to a 9. I really love this film. I love, like, just like you said, I love the moral dilemmas that you just get pushed onto with the characters. It's really really intriguing, and knowing that even though that these are, supposed to, like, in myth, like, these are like godlike beings being dealt with like human emotions and like human complexities. It really gives you a perspective of like, dang, like this is like what they had to go through as well. And not only that, like, of course, this is directed by Chloe Zhao. The cinematography is just like,
Gorgeous.
yes, it is gorgeous. It is astonishing. This is like,
Probably maybe the best cinematography in the MCU.
so far, yeah.
Yeah,
I would
definitely.
definitely think so. And it's one of those things where, like, I think this is like the Marvel movie that has used like the least amount of CGI, right? It's when
Um, I don't.
I mean, I thought so at first because,
I
like,
mean that final section
oh, that's true.
had a
Yeah, the final
lot.
battle. Yeah, that's a lot. Well, okay. Oh, okay. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this.
Their
It
powers are
it is.
relatively simplistic, so I
Mhm.
guess there's not a lot of CGI there. It's not like anyone has like Iron Man armor where the entire character is CG.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this. A lot of the suits, and a lot of like,
Yeah,
a
those are
lot of locate.
practical.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of the
A
suits
lot
were
of onset
practical.
locations.
Yeah, yeah. Very onset locations. Very like little use of green screen, which was really good.
And what gorgeous suits those were.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go back to the hate train real quick. People were hating
Okay.
on the suits because people were like, "Oh my god, this is CG." I'm like, do you not have eyes? Are you blind? That is not CG at
I
all.
think the only CG is when the suit glows a little bit.
Yeah, whenever it glows and whenever it's getting put on them, it's CG. But
Yeah, once it's on
other than
them,
that,
it's
that is like practical, like, and that is just a well-made fucking suit. Oh my god, those are gorgeous suits.
it's
Gorgeous.
like simplistic and yet super complicated and intricate at the same time. Beautiful
Exactly.
suits.
It's just like, I'm not gonna get too much of like the hate that the movie's been getting, but it just really does not deserve the hate it's been getting. A lot of these toxic fans and stands or whatever, they've been just like rattling this movie for weeks, and I just don't understand. Like, but I don't understand why this movie, out of all movies, I find it kind of weird. I won't get into that, but I just find
It's
it
because it's
very
different.
strange. I mean, not even like, I mean, like I said, I'm not gonna get into why I feel like people are hating on this movie, but still, it's just like, come on, dude, like you can do better. But overall, I would suggest this movie. like I said, for the rating, it is a 8.5 to 9 out of 10 for me. I would think that this is a low tier to a high tier Marvel movie for me. That's how I would rank it. In like
it's top 10 for me personally.
Top 10 is good. Top 10 is good
so far,
yeah,
but also Black Widow when it came out was top 10, and that got pushed way down because of just other stuff that came after it.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think I have one little thing to add. Some people were wondering and questioning before they saw the movie whether they dealt with the question, why weren't they there to stop Thanos, if they answered that question well, and I think they did.
They did.
I was, because I was also wondering that, and I was like, I was kind of gonna accept it anyway. Like, okay, it's like retconning, whatever. They didn't exist yet, technically, you know. So it's whatever, regardless. But so I went into that mindset, and then when they answered that question, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that works. That works. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, definitely an 8 to 8.5 for me. Definitely go watch this movie. So
for sure.
So that's non-spoilers. You want to get into spoilers?
Yep.
Okay, so I wasn't expecting, just based on trailers alone, I wasn't expecting the main character to be Cersei.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because they were really hammering in on the trailers. Angelina Jolie, Richard Madden, and Kumail Nanjiani.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, cool, whatever. But when I was watching the movie, I was like, oh, Cersei is like, it's her story, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I assumed it was going to be focused on Angelina Jolie, like Icarus, especially since he's like, seems like the Superman character or whatever. But with how the movie turned out, I'm really happy with the decision. She's the most human, and therefore the most relatable. So it makes sense to follow her rather than everyone else.
Yeah, and I really like how Ajax, in a sense, chose Cersei because, like you said, Cersei's the most human, so it made sense that she would be the one to bring at least this tranquility to the team and the most reasonable state.
And it would also make sense that she then relates to the humans more than the rest of the Eternals.
For sure.
So with that, speaking of Ajax, there's quite a few twists in this movie, which I really liked. And so you start off, Ajax dies, and number one, they were also selling the movie on Salma Hayek. That's right. And all of a sudden she's just dead.
I know, right?
I was like, oh. Now, of course, her presence is felt without the movie with flashbacks and stuff, so she's still there. But the fact that she was just dead off jump, I was like, oh, geez, okay.
I know, right?
And I was also half expecting, just because with the nature of what these movies are, I was expecting, okay, well, she's going to come back at some point. But then she didn't.
Yeah, no.
She kind of did at the end, but not really.
Yeah.
But sorry, go on.
I was gonna say that Ajax started to feel more human, towards the beginning of the movie, where she's talking to Arisem, and she's like, oh, I'm kind of feeling this planet a little bit, and
he was like, stop it.
Yeah, I know. He was like don't get attached to this planet. But other than that, and then later on, during the movie, she tells them to go have a life, and that's kind of what she also told Icarus, even though you're an Eternal with a mission, this still doesn't mean you can't live a life, and that's what she tells the others, go find your own way, and and then later on y'all can tell me your lives. That's what I liked about Ajax in the movie.
Yeah, so she died, and then it was well, she's sort of a bad guy or whatever because she didn't tell us about this thing or whatever. She wasn't on our side or whatever, and then Icarus killed her, and she was on their side. She wanted to save Earth,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
So
Icarus
Icarus
is
is
a
a
pick me boy.
he's a whole
He's a
hoe.
he's a pick me boy.
There's a lot of simps in this movie.
There is a lot of simps in this movie. I'm not saying like okay. I'm gonna say this: the amount of fucking like just tension like with the relationships in this movie is off the charts. Like that is the biggest. These are the biggest teases of relationships ever. And I know that shippers are gonna freaking have a field day with this movie.
Oh, for
My
real.
God.
Oh,
They're
I can.
going,
Oh no, I can already see the Sprite Icarus stuff now. Oh
uh,
no.
uh, God. I'm sorry to put that in your mind, but you know what's coming
Oh,
now.
this is gonna
I
be
told you.
painful. You know, that's the worst thing. You know, I'm dropping my score to a 6. No, I'm kidding.
But, I mean, go on with your characters. I'm still forming my opinion or your thoughts.
You know, I didn't expect to like Kit Harington as much as I did. He
Yeah.
also wasn't in the movie as much as I maybe thought he was, but also maybe I shouldn't have been expecting that because he wasn't really in the trailers either. But we're definitely going to get more of him in the future. I also definitely think, like, I went into this movie expecting to hate Druig, but I ended up really liking him.
Yeah, I love Druig because like honestly, he's my favorite Eternal. Like he's probably my second favorite Eternal next to Makari. Makari, best live action speedster, by the way. CW, take notes. So, but the thing is, like with Druig, bro, like yeah, because you know you can also see like in the trailer that like it looked like they're setting him up to be a villain, but no, he like was. I would say he's probably like just as human as Cersei.
He almost acts like a villain when he leaves for the first time, and he's like, "Try and stop me," because that's like a sort of villainous thing to do. But he's doing a good thing.
Yeah, he is doing a good thing, and I liked how, you know, he wants to interfere. He doesn't want people to just like kill themselves like all the time. And it's like why why get on this planet just like like let them die when you're protecting them, right? It's like that's a good dilemma that I like to see. And like yeah, I really love Jurik in this movie. I loved him a lot.
Agreed.
One thing I wanted to see more of, I wanted to see a little bit more of Kingo. I wanted to see a little bit more of him.
Same, but I'm also happy he didn't die.
Yeah, that too. I mean, kind of jumping towards all of the movie. I wish he was in the final battle, but it made sense why he wasn't in the final battle. You know, I just like finger guns. Those are cool. Everyone,
I know, right?
Yeah,
it's ridiculous, but it works.
I know, and like everyone as a kid was like doing finger guns. So like seeing that in live action just made me like light up as a kid. Like the kid part of me was like, oh my god, this is amazing. But yeah, Kingo was good. I didn't think I loved Gilgamesh that much too. I loved Gilgamesh so much.
That man deserved better.
Dude.
That poor man.
The baby. He's like, oh, I'm a big baby.
I was he just said it like that. Oh, I'm a big baby. That's the way he said that. It was so good.
That was so amazing.
But also, was that baby outfit CG? If so, wow, it was a good CG baby outfit.
I know that's a great CG baby.
But also, maybe I shouldn't be surprised because those red and white Avengers outfits were fully CG.
Yeah, that's true.
Flawless.
We didn't even know that. We didn't even know that until like I think like after the movie came out shortly.
I think it might have been just slightly before. Yeah.
Yeah, slightly before. Yeah. But yeah, he did deserve better. Shit kind of fucking sucked.
Going back to Kingo a little bit, I watched this with my family, and my mom loves Kumail Nanjiani. So when he appeared not for the first time, but like his like entrance with the dance scene, she was swooning. I was like, "Oh no, Ma, are you okay?" My guy looks good though.
He does look good.
He looks real good, and he's like obviously he's this huge Bollywood star, which is just hilarious. Oh man,
Legend of Icarus, Shadow. Dude, we need that Shadow Warrior trilogy on DVD, bro.
For real, man. He was good throughout the whole movie. Yeah, his finger guns were sick. I thought his his Indian Alfred.
Oh yeah,
His outfit's hilarious. He always has a different camera on him at all times. Oh man,
is it bad that like because like I'm like a film student who's like studying like cinematography and all that stuff. When Sprite broke his camera, that made me freaking just my heart shattered.
No, that made me cringe a little bit. Yeah, I'm not even a film major. I was like, oh.
I was like, dude, come on, bro. I like let's see. I also did want to see a little bit more of Athena. I want to see a little bit more of her, more like action between her. It was nice that like at one point she was kind of like like an antagonist of the team at one point. With her like Mad Weary, that was pretty cool to see. And then like Gilgamesh just like freaking just slams her into the ground.
That's one of the funny scenes. He just goes, just knocks her in the ground.
I know, but I also wanted to see like, I mean, I guess kind of like a backstory, but a little bit more of the explanation of like Mad Weary. I wanted like a little bit more of that, but I think it's good for what we got.
No, I think that was explained pretty well because obviously she has dormant memories of her past life, and something went wrong, I guess, with her emergence on that planet. So she kept some of those dormant memories. I think that made sense.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Who's your least favorite Eternal?
Sprite.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. It's Sprite.
Leprechaun looking at.
Bro, she was mad that freaking Cersei was getting dicked down by Icarus.
She really was though. Oh man, I mean, like, yeah, I'm like, it's got to be tough that you're like permanently a kid, but also like slow your roll there. But like,
yeah, and freaking she was over here trying to give somebody a case, bro, in the beginning of the movie.
No, he's like. He tries to hold her hand, and it just whoosh goes through her.
My man dodged a bullet, bro, for real.
100%. Oh man.
And then it was just so funny at the end, like when Drew just like hit her in the back of the head with the rock. That was just so funny.
I think that actress is like 14.
Yeah, she's like 14.
Drew just bonks her.
I know, and that was like the end of her,
which is really cool because she was like, and they obviously did that on purpose because she was giving that really generic like speech.
Yeah,
and then Drew was like, "Shut the fuck up."
I know, right? Freaking Drew in his Irish accent or his Scottish.
Is it Scottish?
Right?
Because I initially thought it was Scottish, but Icarus is also Scottish, and I was like, "Are we really gonna have two Scottish characters?"
Maybe it's Irish.
So I was like, I think he might be Irish, but I'm not 100% sure.
But those freaking accents blend in really well. First watch, I didn't know that Gemma Chan was British. I didn't notice that at first.
I felt like her accent was a little. I was like, that sounded American, but then other times I'm like, oh wait, no, she's British.
Yeah. First watch, I was like, oh, she has to be American. And I watched it yesterday. I was like, wait a minute. She's British.
But then it clicked. I was like, oh yeah, she was in London at the beginning of the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so Barry Keoghan? I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Yeah,
he's Irish.
Barry Keoghan. Oh, he's okay.
He's Irish.
So yeah, that makes sense. Okay, yeah. So I was right.
Because there was a line in the movie where he like pronounced his R really harshly, like Irish people do, and I was like, oh, is he Irish?
Irish.
So I mean, the Irish and Scottish accents are relatively similar. So I mean, can you blame us? We're dumb Americans.
Yeah. I know, right? We can't tell accents. The only accents we can distinguish is like New York and like Southern.
True.
or like freaking like
Californian.
Or Californian or like Baltimore accents. People in Baltimore be speaking cursive, bro.
Or Wisconsin.
But also one person I was intrigued in seeing. I did want to see a little bit more of Phastos. I like seeing Phastos a lot.
Yes, Phastos was. Phastos was really cool, especially at the end of the movie. I was like, where he like really uses his tech. I was like, that's freaking sick.
I know. He's like, oh no, Icarus, you're not going anywhere.
I also loved how he's gay and they didn't make it a big deal.
Okay, buddy, listen here. I'm just kidding.
Well, no, because that's like the ideal way to do it, right? Because it's like if you overdo it, then it sort of feels like, okay, you're just trying to get brownie points.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Like, look at us, we have a gay character, but obviously you can't underdo it because then it feels like, okay, well you're just kind of doing this for no reason. It's a really fine line to cross because you either do it too much or you do it too little. Like some people think Avengers Endgame did it too little with Joe Russo's little cameo, but this one hit the sweet spot. He's there, he's gay. Okay, move on.
Yeah. I think that like. Yeah, him, Phastos and Kingo were like, it was a great amount of like comedic relief, with like him and his son and everything like that. With the Phastos son, that was funny. I like that a lot. Yeah. Dad, can we go to space one day? Maybe you get your learner's permit.
I told my brother I was like, that kid's gonna remember that. He's gonna get his learner's permit. He's gonna be like, hey Dad, it's time.
Also, the scene with like his kid and Thena, she like almost like cuts him.
Yeah,
he drops like he like chokes on his pizza and like
he's like, oh my god.
That made the whole entire theater laugh. Also, the scenes I love the most, Makari. Dude, bro,
they were so good. I wish we got more.
Dude, like. And the thing is, bro, like, it made me excited because she was whooping ass, bro. She was doing her thing.
She really was. Why is the speedsters always like the highlight of these?
Because they're speedsters, and they're not.
They always have the coolest scenes.
Yeah, exactly. And like, that's the thing, like with like Makari now is that like, of course we've gotten like a little bit of like speedsters going fast. But like, yeah, that's how people want the standard to be for speedsters. Like, we don't want slow-mo scenes anymore. We want them to see them going fast. But I mean,
I'd love a mixture of both. I love the slow-mo scenes. They can be really cool, especially when they're like sort of like dodging things like bullets or whatever. Slow-mo,
yeah,
awesome. But yeah, like in this movie when she's just fighting, seeing like just I don't even know how to describe it because it follows her, but you never feel lost. Like or dizzy or whatever. I don't know how they did it, but
really great tracking.
Incredible, truly incredible speedster scenes, and also very unique.
Yeah, they are very unique.
We've never seen a speedster scene like that in live action.
And like, yeah, it's crazy because like usually not even usually, most of the time speedsters get freaking just nerfed completely, and I feel like they did the Bakari really really well because like she wasn't nerfed at all. She like she did her thing when like saving people, and she like held up a really really good fight against Icarus. So that's what was really intriguing about this about Makari and like the speedsters going forward in live action.
I also loved how the MCU did evil Superman better than DC.
Oh yeah, true.
And he wasn't even all that evil, which also makes sense for evil Superman. Like he was an antagonist. He wasn't like straight up evil though.
Yeah, I know.
Speaking of villains, I also loved how Crow wasn't the villain. Like I went into this expecting like, okay, the Eternals are gonna get together because they haven't seen each other in a while. And then there's all these deviants, and then there's this one deviant. He's the most powerful deviant, and they got to fight this powerful deviant that is super powerful for some reason. And they all get together, and then they all have a happy time. And then, but no, yeah. Crow was definitely an antagonist, a bit more so than Icarus. I don't know. He was cool, and he was there when he needed to be. He didn't overstay his welcome. Maybe he died a bit too easily.
That's true. I think his death was pretty cool though. He just got sliced like fucking Fruit Ninja.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I liked I liked his look, and I liked like the way like he started becoming like more human like. It kind of reminded me of like Ultron in a way.
Yeah.
It's
Uh,
like, oh, like these memories.
actually, I literally heard someone say that in the theater. Like I was sitting down and when he was transformed, someone was like, "It's kind of like Ultron."
Yeah, it's cool though. I like seeing stuff like that. It's like, oh, like they're all kind of like groggy and they're like starting to like form like a mind, and it's like all these memories and all that stuff. And it was like pretty cool. It has like he had a little monologue. It's like, you are no like heroes, Eternals. Like, y'all killed my kind. Blah blah blah. I
Crow
also can't believe it.
played
I
by
can't believe that freaking
Bill
what?
Skarsgård.
Yes, thank you. Holy crap! Holy shit! Because I saw Bill Skarsgård in the credits. I was like, who did he play? Who did he play?
Yeah, that man's Crow. We actually reported a couple weeks ago that it might be Dan Stevens, but nah, it's Bill Skarsgård, which is a great choice.
Like, oh, okay. I was like, oh, okay. Thank you. That was gonna freaking wreck me. You want to talk about those post credit scenes?
No.
Oh.
Not yet. I have a.
Well, I will. All right. So
no. I have a couple more. I have a couple more notes here. A couple more notes. That sex scene.
Yeah, we're very very close to seeing Gemma Chan's breasts.
But like the internet sort of made this like out to be like this big polarizing thing.
I know.
Like,
and
this
it was
is the
like,
first MCU sex scene. Oh my god, this is like what are they doing? But it was like nothing. I was like, oh, that's it.
oh my god, my kids are gonna watch this.
Like they say fuck in the X-Men movies. You're really
right. You're
impressed
caring about
about
like a sex scene. Okay, buddy.
Oh, that dude Icarus straight up flew into the sun, straight offed himself.
Very very poetic of him.
Indeed, very poetic. Maybe a little bit on the nose, but very poetic. Also, he straight up killed himself.
Yeah, bro. I mean, he couldn't take it anymore. I mean, because if he didn't kill himself, they were gonna kill him. To be honest,
true.
Like they were gonna kill him, so he might as well just like.
I think even though they helped him, or even though he helped them in the end, I still think he believes, they should have let the emergence happen, and that's probably why he killed himself. He was like, if I stay here, like, I can't live with myself. So he offed himself. I want to reiterate. I love the dilemmas this movie puts forth. Neither side is technically wrong. Like, they're preventing life. Without the emergence, they're preventing life from being born. But at the same time, it's also unfair to take that said life.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of which, thank God Kingo wasn't like he sided with Icarus, but he wasn't like gonna, fight them.
Yeah, freaking Kingo's low-key a sim for Icarus. But, I mean, I think it was better off that he left anyways. Yeah. Number one, because, he didn't die. I didn't want any more people to die.
Rest in peace, Gilgamesh.
Rest in peace, Gilgamesh, I know. And it's like, because he was like saying, yeah, like we've helped him before, and it's like, I don't want to deal with this now. Like he's like, I love humans like way too much, like, he didn't want to see them go. So
yeah, and like Phastos, his technology like helps people, like help them go to war and stuff. There's that dilemma. And I remember seeing on Twitter and stuff, like there was a scene where he's in Hiroshima, and I sort of expected like, oh, he made the atom bomb. But I don't think that's the case. I feel like that scene implied, oh, my meddling and helping them advance led to the atom bomb, which then led to Hiroshima. Therefore, I did this.
Yeah.
But that was a tough scene.
That was tough, and honestly, like I thought it was gonna be like a little bit more graphic with the Hiroshima scene, because like I thought we were gonna see like the actual like, the
Wolverine style,
like like the silhouettes of like the dead bodies, and they shit like that. But it was still a heartbreaking scene, like nonetheless.
But yeah, the whole do we help them, do we don't? Because if they're and it's the whole thing is they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. If they help them, they lead to the emergence, and they lead to humans killing themselves. But then that leads to more technological advancements and better life in the future. But also, if they don't help them, then they might not know where to go, and they'll get there anyway, but slower. But then again, if they do, it's this whole thing, and that's like the crux of the movie.
Yeah, and I like the Fasta's like, more of his like thinking. He was just saying like, yeah, even though I've given up on like humans, there are still people that help me keep humanity alive. I like that a lot, because you always kind of like with the social media aspect, people are like, oh my god, like people are terrible, but like you see that one video of like people like being nice, like, oh well, maybe humans aren't so bad after all.
He's
like
given up on helping them, but he still thinks they have a place in the universe.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So my last thing until we get into the post-credit scene, the gigantic when the Celestial is hovering over Earth.
Bro, I
two
fucking
things.
shit myself.
Two things. Number one, that's terrifying.
No, that dude.
I was like, holy, like we've seen that kind of imagery before, but like seeing it like in live action like that, whoa.
Yeah, we saw it in Guardians of the Galaxy
a little bit, but like barely.
Yeah, it was a little bit, because it was like that one Celestial like just demolishing people. But like honestly, like how like hamsters like die, with like just like they have like if you scare them, they just die.
Yeah,
that'd be me. But at the same time, I'd be shitting my pants.
Yeah, that's horrifying, man. That's horrifying. Like, we're just watching it in a movie. Like, imagine that in real life. Jesus Christ.
But the thing is, like, dude, like honestly, if I was like living on like the main like Marvel Earth, I'd be sick. I'd be sick as hell. I
imagine what are the suicide rates in the MCU universe?
Dude, they gotta be so. Those suicide rates gotta be so high. They're delaying the emergence themselves, bro.
That's true. They didn't need to do the Eternals movie.
Freaking Arisem is like, whoa, what's going on? People are just dying. Yeah, they're freaking killing themselves because you're horrifying them, bro. You got freaking people seeing like 6 celestial eyes in the freaking sky and everything. You got people laid on like
Spider-Man's in school and he looks out the window. There's a gigantic celestial.
Yeah, freaking.
He's like, what
dude,
the?
I know, right? His spider sense is gonna be tingling so freaking hard. It's gonna trigger the Spider-Verse.
That's how they do it. Oh, okay. But number 2, that scene proves that they can 1,000,000% do Galactus justice.
Yeah, they really can.
I saw that. I was like, holy shit, that's terrifying. But also, Galactus?
I know. I was like, what the hell? But, shit. I thought about. I had a thought. Maybe it'll come to me.
Imagine seeing that Galactus and on that scale, and they have to fight that in an Avengers movie. Crazy.
Yeah, bro. I'd freaking. I just die. Yeah. Also, like, let's not mention the fact that the Eternals let 9/11, slavery, and the Holocaust happen.
Yeah, Eternals. They make some interesting decisions, but again, it's that dilemma. You know?
Yeah, they're getting canceled, bro.
Drew could have been like, "Hey, stop it! stop it!"
I know. I mean, he could have stopped the Holocaust, bro. Think about it. He could have stopped all that stuff.
Hey, Hitler, peace and love, man. Chill.
Yeah. Actually, it turns out that Drew was the one that mind controlled Hitler to like shoot himself in the head. So
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, this has got way too dark. Let's get into the post-credit scene.
All right, so what was the first post? Oh yeah, first post-credit scene
is Star Fox.
We're in the ship or whatever. What is the ship called?
Fuck it, right now, I forgot.
Triangle ship thing. So they're in the triangle and they're like, yeah, we haven't heard from Cersei and them for like weeks, man.
It's called a Domo.
Ah. Yeah, that. So the Triangle ship, so they're like we have heard from Cersei and Kingo and whatever for weeks. What's going on? And they're like, are they gone or whatever? And then there's a little whoosh whoosh thing going on, and it sort of looks like the Bifrost, to be honest.
It does, yeah.
And Pip comes out, little leprechaun boy, and voiced by Patton Oswalt, which was a surprise.
I know, right?
And so he was like, behold, the brother of Thanos, or whatever, Star Fox, and boom, there's Harry Styles. Now, yeah. He looks good. Our friend Angelica was texting me, and she's a big Harry Styles fan. She was like, oh my god, how'd Harry Styles look? Was he as fine as he always is? And I was like, he looks like every other white man.
Oh my god.
And she was like, fair enough.
But yeah, it's always weird seeing. I don't really hear Harry Styles' voice that often, but it was kind of weird hearing it with like an American accent. It's like, well, nice to meet your acquaintance. I'm like,
was he American? Okay. I thought he was British.
No. Well, he is British in real life, but
no, I mean Star Fox. I thought he had a British accent.
No.
Are you sure?
It was American. Yes, I remember.
Are you sure?
I saw it for twice.
Are you sure?
It's pretty fresh in my mind, bro.
Yeah, but like, you're wrong though. Are you sure? I'm pretty sure he popped out of that portal and he was like, hello, Eternals. How are you?
Shut up, dude. What is wrong with you?
Hello, it's me, brother of Thanos.
No.
My name's, you can call me Aris.
No.
But people call me Star Fox.
What are you talking about? Shut up.
You know, on Earth they call me Harry Styles. I sing the Watermelon Sugar. Have you heard that song?
Shut up, dude. You're dumb.
His suit looked accurate.
Still looks really good.
Maybe they should have spent more time on that Pip model.
Yeah,
it was pretty jarring.
Mm-hmm. It definitely looked out of place.
Looked like I was watching a World of Warcraft cutscene.
Looked like I was watching a Lord of the Rings deleted scene.
But yeah, it's pretty much. So yeah, but Star Fox was like, yeah, they're gone or whatever, and I'm gonna help or whatever. So I assume that was like set up for Eternals 2, right?
Yeah.
I hope we get that. I hope these critical reviews don't deter Marvel Studios from, number one, making more of Eternals movies, but number two, doing different things.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I'm personally okay with the blueprint that they've sort of established. You know, like they can keep the same blueprint and play with it and still make something that feels fresh, a la Shang-Chi.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I will also gladly take something different, like Eternals.
Yeah.
I really hope it doesn't deter them, man. I think Feige's smarter than that. And at the end of the day, I think Disney cares about the monetary stuff from these movies, and Feige cares about the audience. And I think Feige sees the audience reception to this and be like, okay, we're good. We're good. Let's make more.
Yeah.
But that second post-credit scene, though?
Yes. I had the question on Friday when I watched. I was like, what the fuck happened to Kit Harington's character? Like, I thought we were going to freaking see him in action.
Yeah, I remember when he was cast. It was Kit Harington cast as Black Knight in Eternals.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, we're going to see Black Knight. But no, it's just Kit Harington.
No. It's like, nah, we didn't see that.
But it also makes a lot of sense because the movie should focus on the Eternals and whatnot.
Yeah, and then, you know, they had that freaking, like little, like, ball buster scene. He's like, oh, you know, my family history is kind of complicated, you know. And then, like, Cersei gets freaking taken away by that horrifying look of the Celestial. But I'm excited to see Black Knight in the future.
Definitely. That sword looks sick. The little, I don't even know what even to call it, on the little, like, venom looking thing on the sword.
You want to know what it reminds me of? Yeah, that reminded me of the symbiote thing. But I have a video to show you what that looks like. I can't. I don't remember. I don't remember like what it's called. It's like this like a like this element type thing that I saw in like physics class. But I'll show you what it looks like. That reminds me of. But the sword looks cool. I like the little writing. It says death is my reward. That sounds pretty interesting.
Who's he talking to? Because he was like, I know, but I have to try or whatever.
I think he's just like touching the sword because there's I think
I'm not familiar with Black Knight, so that's obvious. I don't.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar of it as
maybe
well.
There's like a spirit in the sword or something, and he's talking to the spirit in the sword. Because I think it is a generational thing.
Yeah.
Because something about the more he kills, the more it fucks up his mind or something like that.
Because like I know like I got him confused. I got him confused with Blackheart because Blackheart's an actual character in the comics. But I forgot his origin story because I literally like saw it like the other day. I don't know. I'll do research on it. Whatever.
So he goes and he to touch the sword, and what do you know? You know who we hear on the side. Unfortunately, we don't get to see him, but we hear him. He says something like, "Are you sure you want to do that?" or whatever. And it's none other than Mahershala Ali's Blade. Oh man,
dude.
I was like, oh shit! I go over to my mom. I'm like tapping her on the shoulder. I was like, Mom, it's Blade. And she's like, Wesley Snipes, and I'm like, no.
Oh man, but yeah, that was oh dude, that was so good. Until I didn't know until you told me about it. Yeah, you kind of spoiled me on that before I saw the movie, bro. And I'm just kidding. Nah, it's all good. But that was cool. I like that a lot. My girlfriend was like, "Oh, like that's Blade." I was like, "Yeah, that's Blade," and she was like, "Oh my god."
I wish we saw him.
I wish we saw him too. It would be nice if.
But also, if they're a ways away off. Well, Oh well. I forgot this movie has been delayed and whatever. I was about to say, well, if they're shooting the Moon Knight series and if Blade's rumored to be in it, shouldn't they have his stuff ready? But this is filmed a while ago.
Yeah. So like of course he was Blade for a while. It was just cool.
Man, I'm so excited. He's gonna be so good. I also love how I believe I could be remembering this wrong, but I'm pretty sure that Mahershala Ali actually went to Marvel Studios and was like, "Hey, can I be Blade?"
Dude, that's freaking cool.
Which is obviously a beautiful sign because if he's the one that's like, let's do Blade, I mean, oh man, I'm so excited for that.
I know. And what's cool about Black Knight and Blade is that they kind of have like a history, like because Blade has like a history with like the Whitman.
Well, see, now I'm wondering how they're gonna, because not only we're getting a Blade movie, a while ago it was rumored that we're gonna get a Black Knight series. So number one, I wonder what's going to come first. I'm pretty sure Blade's going to come first because there's already like a director and writers attached and stuff like that. So I think that's going to come first. So I wonder if that's. I think they'd have to do an origin for Blade, right? Even though the Blade movies exist, the general audience, especially now, I doubt is like, oh yeah, Blade. Obviously his origin makes sense.
Of course, a lot of people the earlier generation have seen Blade, and people reference those Blade movies as being one of the kickstarters of the MCU. So I know they a few, or I say at least half of the audience knows of Blade, his origin story in the trilogy back in the early 2000s.
I'd say half has heard of Blade, but like a quarter has actually seen the movies.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair to say.
I guess then they also have to introduce vampires into the MCU. There's a whole bunch they got to do. So I think that will probably be an origin story. But for the Black Knight series, that's probably going to be a Black Knight Blade team up, right? I mean, that seems like what this post-credit scene is teasing.
Yeah, because like I said, they have a history together.
Indeed.
So, I am excited because I'm not saying Blade is underused because everyone kind of knows about Blade, but Blade is just, I feel like he deserves like way more recognition than what he's been getting.
100%.
I really, I feel like if people like aren't a big fan of like vampires or whatever, I feel like they would like Blade because like I feel like Blade like takes like vampire killing to like a different level.
And Mahershala
Like
Ali is like one of the best actors around right now.
He really is. He's done well in Luke Cage and like other movies like that too. He is very very like in some aspects he reminds me of like Tony Todd in some way. Like not sense about the voice. His voice is pretty good too. Like it's a very very deep voice, but he's like pretty intimidating, and he has like that tall figure to him, which gives him like a really nice nice thing to his character.
If you're not familiar with Mahershala Ali, just look up some of his Blade. Let's look up some of his Luke Cage scenes. Dude's really good.
Yeah, dude's a really really amazing actor. I'm gonna watch more of his movies too. But
if you're also unfamiliar with Mahershala Ali, he was the Prowler in Into the Spider-Verse.
Yes, that too.
So before we end the podcast here, I got some stupid complaints that I've heard that I want to kind of address. Some dumb complaints are the movie is not funny enough, which is already stupid because the MCU gets criticized for being too quippy, and then this movie's release the gas a little bit on some of the quips, and all of a sudden it's not funny and it's boring. But at the same time, I've also seen people saying there's too many quips and it's too funny and it breaks the tension and whatnot, specifically from Kingo's character. But it's almost like, I don't know, he's the comic relief.
I know, right?
And that's like in most movies. So I mean, it's like you can't have both. It's either one or the other. Is it not funny or too funny?
It's just one of those things that like these fans, these people, they're too predictable. They are way too predictable, bro. Like, I already know what to expect. Like when it comes to like Marvel movies, like just people not paying attention, and like they're just spewing shit out of their ass, and their complaints are like just not valid at all. Like, it angers me how people can be like stupid when it comes to like movies and just like not paying attention.
Yeah, it's like obviously some things are subjective, but sometimes, I mean, some complaints are just like did you watch the movie?
Yeah, it's so dumb. I can't like explain how stupid people are when it comes to like Marvel movies.
Yeah, another complaint is that there's not enough action, which we sort of addressed earlier. But like, yeah, the action is a little far in between. But number one, the final sequence is spectacular, and number two, that's not what this movie is. This movie's strong suit is not the action. It's not Shang-Chi. It's the characters. Again, it's a character study. And I mean, if you go into this and you watch it and you're not a fan of the characters, and I mean, then you're not going to like the movie. And that's just how it is, unfortunately. But at the same time, I think these characters are great. I wasn't expecting to like a lot of them, and I did. I don't know what to tell you. There's not a lot of action, but that's sort of the strength of the movie. Another complaint is Sprite is too much like Loki.
Oh my god.
Which I can sort of get, because she does the whole holographic thing and she can like conjure things and shapeshift in a way. But she is similar, but she's also better and worse in some aspects. And like, for example, like she can like create like entire constructs, essentially, like how she made that like dome around Thena when she was having her little episode.
Yeah.
And like Loki like could do that. Like we've seen like how classic Loki did it in the Loki show, but like our Loki can't really do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, Loki with his shapeshifting is better than Sprites, because he can actually be like, when he shapeshifts, he can be like physically touched. You know, it's not just like a hologram.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, it's similar. And I guess she kind of does a similar thing where she makes like multiples of hers and whatever. She's similar, but I don't think she's similar enough for it to be like, oh, she's just Loki, because her power set is similar, I guess, but then you go to the actual character, and they're completely different.
Yeah.
Have you seen any dumb complaints?
It's kind of going back to that, like, Sprite or whatever, and someone was like, well, if Sprite was so concerned about, like, being older, why can't she just make herself older and say that way? And I'm like, you didn't pay attention, dummy.
Literally, like, answer in the beginning of the movie.
I know. It's like, people are so dumb.
But
I haven't heard too many dumb complaints yet. Well, I did see one comment. It was on Letterboxd, saying how, like, there is no need for the deviant like to be in the movie because, like, he kind of had the same ideology as Icarus. And I was like, I mean, I don't think so, because I still feel like the deviant Crow is, like, still, like, he still needs to be in the movie because, he is a deviant. They're trying to stop all the deviants. And the fact that, like, they're supposed to share the same ideology because, like, the Eternals they're realizing that they're not good people in some ways. And, like, they are, like, killing off a kind because they're being told to.
Right,
so
and then the Celestials, or the main Celestial, I keep forgetting her name.
Harisham
was like, yeah, we created them essentially with the same idea, but we made the mistake of allowing them to evolve. And then, so they evolved past their main directive, and now they're their own being, essentially. Speaking of the deviants, they had a great design.
They did have a great design. It reminds me of if you play, it kind of reminds me a little bit of, like, Monster Hunter a little bit. If you've seen Monster Hunter,
I have not.
It's a good game, but yeah, that's kind of reminds me of. I think the designs look really cool. They're, like, kind of like reflective, like green and red colors. They look nice.
I was half expecting Crow to help the Eternals fight Icarus at the end.
Yeah, because he'd, like, punch the shit out of Icarus.
Yeah, and he also, like, presumably he wants to, stay on Earth or whatever, and live. But yeah, the Eternals were like, kill this guy.
Yeah, I know, right?
But did you not like anything? I feel like we didn't really get into that stuff we didn't like.
I feel like Cersei. Cersei's definitely cheating. She cheating. She was cheating on Dane. She was cheating, dog, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was cheating on Dane.
I mean, I don't know.
Like, I kind of understand. I mean, not to say cheating's bad. I'm just saying, in her feelings, I would understand that she still had feelings for Icarus because he just, like, left, right?
Yeah.
But nonetheless, she's still cheating on Dane. She was, like, touching all, like, Icarus's hand and, like, all that shit, my bro. Like, Dane, you're better off just killing her, bro. Like, kill her. Take the sword and kill her. I'm kidding. But she's still cheating, though.
Yeah, there was a couple of lines of dialogue that I felt like were delivered poorly. One was from Gilgamesh and another was from Phastos. Like, it was in, like, sort of the middle of the film. Gilgamesh was talking to, it was either Cersei or Athena, and I don't know, it's just the way he said the line, I was like, I don't know about that one. And then Phastos, towards the end of the movie, like, yelled something or something, and I was like, I don't know about that one.
Oh yeah, I think it's like when he drags Icarus down and he's like, oh yeah, you're not going anywhere, boss. I was like, oh man. But the one thing I would like to say about one of the lines I liked with Phastos, he's like, I've been waiting to clip your wings for a long time.
Yeah,
like,
I love that.
Nice. I like that line a lot. I was like, man, true. Like, going back to the poetic thing is so, that's good. Good lines. I mean, yeah, I don't really have anything much to dislike.
Right.
I mean, there's something. I mean, not to say that there will be things we won't dislike later on.
Yeah, I imagine maybe on a few rewatches, maybe some things will stand out more. It's like, oh, maybe that could have been better and this and blah blah blah. But
but for me, I can't truly say I like disliked anything. I mean, there are, of course, I said that I wanted to see more of certain characters with certain scenes. Other than that, like, I can't really pinpoint anything that I would like to,
Yeah, there wasn't anything I saw and I was like, that's not.
Yeah, I know. Of course, with these movies, some things are just going to be like a little jarring and like, it's going to catch us off guard. But that's not to truly say, oh, this makes the movie bad. Oh, like, that's not going to be like that at all.
Yeah. So that's Eternals. Again, I thought it was great. Definitely worth your time. Definitely worth a watch. I'd give it an 8 to 8.5. Tor gives it an 8.5 to a 9 out of 10. Yeah, man. Don't listen to the critics. Hell, don't listen to the audience score. Make up your own mind. But it's definitely good. And if you're into the MCU like we are, you're probably gonna have to watch it anyway. So go see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that is the show. We'll next week we're going to be talking about Disney Plus Day, and depending on what happens on Disney Plus Day, we're either going to have a topic or we'll just talk about all the news from Disney Plus Day, a la DC Fandom. But yes, is that the show?
It is.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to the Avengenerds Podcast. If you want to follow us, we're at Avengenerds on Twitter. That's AVENGE Nerds. All one word. If you want to follow either one of us, you can reach me at @itzenith_ on Twitter. Where can they reach you?
Quarantino on Twitter.
All right. Well, we have a Discord. If you'd like to join the conversation there, those will be linked in the show notes. You can also check our link tree for any additional links you may be interested in. You can also review the show in-app on Apple Podcasts. If you can leave 5 stars in a review, it would really help us out. Thanks again for listening to the Avengenerds Podcast. We'll see you next week.
Sounds good. See you later.
On a second thought, Eternals might be bottom 5.
This is why the Amazing Spider-Man 2 is better than Far From Home.
God damn it.